Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Safety Systems. As the temperature is warm, you're going to want to spend more time out on your deck, your porch, or your patio. Well, make sure it's an outdoor entertainment center. You can do so by calling J.J. Surlis and the gang at Safety Systems. Talk to them this week about what they can do for your porch, patio, or deck. These guys have done wonders at my home, and they're also great with security systems, obviously. Safety Systems. All right. Ryan Callahan here is our recruiting guru today. We appreciate that. You cover recruiting for GoVols247.com, a little free plug. I want to quickly let you touch on, I asked you to talk about the 3 commitments Tennessee's got, and then 3 other guys that you just wanted to chat about. So let's get right into that first. Take a look at Tennessee's 3 commitments as it stands right now. 2 of these looking good. One may be questionable. One's new.
Yeah, the newest one, Jackson Lowe, the 3-star tight end from Georgia. And don't be misled by the 3 stars next to his name. That was the top tight end target on Tennessee's board. That's legitimate. He's a really good player. Has about almost 30 offers already. Clemson, Alabama, Auburn, some big Georgia had offered, but wasn't necessarily pursuing him because they have a tight end commitment. But still a big pickup for Tennessee, a guy that is originally from Chattanooga, lived there for first 3 years of his life. Jackson Lampley is a Tennessee legacy that committed the day after signing day. Not a big surprise. He's going to Tennessee, but still a big pickup in state, and actually helped recruit Jackson Lowe, so he's already paying off in terms of peer recruiting. Corey Couch is the one to watch. He's a commitment the former staff picked up and is kind of held on. He's a soft commitment right now, but clearly looking around, not much contact with Tennessee staff either. So even though he's a 4-star in South Florida, not sure exactly what the new staff thinks of him. So we'll see if that changes and Tennessee talks to him a little bit more. But so far, they don't seem to be fighting too hard to hold on to him.
Keep him on. Okay. Well, I asked you also, give me 3 guys that you wanted to talk about for various reasons. So let's go to that. Recruits to watch. What do you got?
All right, so Quavaris Crouch is a 5-star, actually formerly listed as a running back, now considered an athlete because at about 6'2", 224 pounds, his coach believes he has the potential to be essentially the next Lawrence Taylor on defense. Has compared him to that, and he's a 5-star player, obviously, so he's really good wherever he plays, but could be a linebacker, defensive end, could be a running back. Tennessee's willing to play him pretty much wherever, I think, as most schools are.
So he made the comment recently that Jeremy Pruitt had kind of talked to him about linebacker with some running back duties.
Yes, and I think that's what a lot of schools will pitch to him, a part-time role on offense, if nothing else, with maybe an emphasis on defense. But it's going to be up to him, I think, on where he plays. But he's visited Tennessee twice this year, so they're in the running for him, with Clemson probably being their main competition. Wanye Morris, big-time offensive lineman. He's a top 100 player. Tennessee has hosted him a couple of times this year, and Tennessee looks like the favorite to land him potentially as early as next month, but probably sometime around the middle of May, something like that right now. But it's Tennessee and Auburn battling for him. Lance Wilhoit's a guy to watch in-state simply because they're not after as many guys in-state so far this year, and he's a big one that they would like to have, but they're chasing a few other teams. We'll see if they can turn that one around, but he's the #1 player in the state right now in the 24/7 Sports composite rankings, and definitely a guy they'd like to get from Nashville. That's an important area, always has been, and he's one of the guys there that they're in a real battle for with Florida State and some other schools involved.
Okay, very good. Here's what I want to ask you, Ryan. As someone who covers recruiting, what have you noticed in terms of, are there things that stand out strategy-wise that have changed from the previous regime to Jeremy Pruitt? The type of kids they're targeting, how many they're targeting. Are you noticing any strategic changes in the way Tennessee is recruiting right now?
So the main thing that stands out to me just in the first few months is kind of where this staff is willing to go geographically and where they want to go. I think they're spending more time in North Carolina, and part of that's because maybe the 2019 class is really good there, but they have a renewed emphasis on that state and have done a good job there so far. Tons of offers out in that state, and they're really spending a lot of time in Alabama, which maybe shouldn't be surprising given Jeremy Pruitt's ties there and some other guys on staff. Their histories in Alabama, but the fact that they're going into that state and going head-to-head with Alabama and Auburn, some people might say that's a waste of time, but they're off to a good start there. They just got a class of 2020 commitment this week from a top 100 player in the country, Christian Story, so they've already gone to Alabama, had some success. Those are the main things that stand out to me geographically. I think you also see just more reliance on the Southeast in general because this staff doesn't have Midwestern ties like Butch Jones's staff did, so I think you're seeing more North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana. That's all going to be important to Tennessee more so.
Well, and the idea was when you brought in all these guys who had the experience in the SEC and in the ACC all through the Southeast, that it would pay dividends. It sounds like they're already cashing in, or at least trying to cash in on those ties that they've built over their careers.
And one other thing worth noting, too, this will be different for this staff compared to Butch Jones, but in-state, they don't seem to be going out of their way to sign in-state players just for the sake of getting in-state players. I think they like a lot of in-state guys, particularly in the 2020 class, but 2019, a lot of 4-star guys and pretty highly ranked players that they're not really that involved with so far. So I think they're looking around, confident in their evaluations, and saying, we're going to get guys who fit us, not necessarily just take in-state players.
Which is something Pruitt said early on, that, you know, it's one thing that you want to protect your borders, but if we see players outside the borders who are better, we're going to go get them. So I think, again, you like what he's saying. We'll see how everything stands in about 3 years. Or in 2 years if you're Lane Kiffin. We'll talk about that a little later. Next, though, we're going to talk Tennessee basketball, and there's a lot to get to this week. Schofield, Memphis, pay raises, all kinds of stuff. Going back on the Sports Source.